Hello, everyone. This is Gary Hargrave, and we are here once again with interviews from Israel. And today we have the pleasure of having Mickey Medzini with us. And normally he's a part of our interviews with his father, Professor Medzini. But recently he himself was called back to duty by the IDF. And so we've arranged this time with him to get a very different perspective and a feel for what he's experiencing now that he's actually back in service during this time of the war against Hamas following October 7th of last year. And I would just say, Mickey, number one, it's good to see that you're safe
Thank
and with us. Thank you for joining.
thank you. Thank you
Um,
very much.
and I would you remind us again of your rank with the IDF?
I'm a captain, and I was called up again. My home is not far from, or actually, is on the what in Israel we call the seam line. Seam line is the
Mm-hmm.
border between Israel and the West Bank, and our community are located in a place where we literally about half a mile from us. There are the beginning of few West Bank Palestinian villages. And there is a feeling from day one that we have to show ourselves on the border and make sure things are kept quiet instead of responding to unquiet later. So the army,
Yes. Well,
yeah,
I know it's created a lot of tension in Judea Samaria. Are you able to tell us the actual cities that you're working in, or are you not able to do that?
I'm in the area not far from the city called Modi'in. The nearest villages here are Tsafa, Bil'in, Harbata. There are two cities with the same name, Modi'in and Upper Modi'in. One is more secular, modern Orthodox. The other one is ultra-Orthodox. And we are between those two cities doing a patrol, and we have few posts that we are holding and doing shifts. What the army realized is that it's much more effective to have people protecting their own homes. So instead of calling regular units from different places, they very quickly organized local units. People a bit older in age, but still we got a basic good training to remind us how to do everything that we used to do. And in that regard, it's amazing to see, and I'm not speaking only for myself, but also for my comrades who got the training with me. The muscle memory is quite good. You know exactly what to do. And so the army is giving us the all the necessary support and equipment, and we wear uniforms and we get the weapons and all the gear. But basically, we are working from our homes and in our neighborhoods, doing shifts, patrols, posts. The command center is in one of our communities. We took one of the youth facilities and one of the rooms there to have the headquarters and uh, running our security. And again, it's proved to be quite effective. People are doing the utmost because it's literally their home, and understanding that by
Right.
doing that, we're letting others go and do their service. So, an example of others is my daughter, who is serving in the area of Gaza. Over there, it's more intense. She's very active service. But again, very understanding it's going to be long, much longer than we thought when the first one were recruited on October 7 and 8. We didn't expect it at that time to be that long, but with very much determination to get the job done on one hand and do it in a manner that will save as much life as can in the process. Israeli hostages in the
Right.
mind of every Israeli soldier, and then Israeli soldiers, and also trying to minimize as much as possible the harm of civilians. So it's going slow. It's going. There are new dimensions that the army is learning how to operate in. Although there are time in history where tunnels were used in small scales and hideout and stuff like this, it's a new scale of new dimension with new scales. And although the army did come with some preparation, I think not to the magnitude of the size and the um, strength of this infrastructure. And they need to do it on one hand slow. Second is to develop as we going. The army is all the time developing new methods of how to do it better and how eventually to get rid of those. How to, in most cases, from what we see, they bomb them, but how to get rid of those terror infrastructure that were built in 15 and over 15 years with billions and billions of dollars. Interesting in my
Yeah, it seems like it's
yeah. So in my
no.
unit,
You go ahead.
yeah, in my unit, we are most of us are in, I would say, from our 40s and on, from all different combat units, and what we didn't come with a long. Usually, units come with years of working and training together, so it doesn't happen here. But we are all neighbors, and we all know each other. So the
Uh-huh.
comradeship is becoming instantly. Uh, in other units, like my daughter, so she joins. She just finished the service a few months before the war broke. So she goes into a unit,
Ah,
very cohesive unit. So she used to, I
yes.
mean, the first few, I would say 2 weeks were kind of challenge. Everybody knows each other. Everybody are comrades. They know each other for years, and I'm the young ones coming in, and she has a command post, so she gives order to people who are, she's 22. Sometimes she have to give order to someone who is 32 and more. So it takes time to get into the emotion, but at the end of the day, those reserve people who come with different maturity in life understand that she has to give the orders, and they will respect her if she does a good job. And by now, she gained the respect. She's doing, I think, a good job. And overall, they again, it's a unique combination of older, younger people serving together, building comradeship, friendship that last for years. Um, it's part of the Israeli society in general. It's if you think about
Yes.
in the U.S. colleges where you build your not just social network but also your first professional network. So in Israel, you have first the army, then your reserve unit, sometimes different people, sometimes half, some of them will be the same, some will be different, and then your college friends. So you have another social and professional networks that helps you uh, deal with any challenges in life, from finding job to any other challenge. So
It really affects the rest of your life,
yeah,
and
it's
that's important for people to know because, like you say, it's a very different dynamic.
yeah, it's becoming part of your life. I did my reserve service. I did it for over 20 years. Once a year, you meet your comrades. Most of the time, it will be at least once a year or second year training, and then you will do another service in one of the borders, or in the West Bank, or in Judea and Samaria, in the northern border. Each unit, depending where they belong to, which fund they are allocated to, and it's you build relationship for of lifelong relationship with those people. And the beauty of it is
Yes.
that when you join in, it's people. You, during reserve service, we argue. We don't speak. We argue a lot about politics, but there is understand, and no one agree with no one. It's not like there is two groups. There, if there are 10 people, there are 15 groups. This is how it works. But it's the friendship is way on a higher, much higher level, and people truly, and you can see it now happening in Gaza. There will be people who will not agree on any political, social issue in Israel, and will risk their life for each other, because those friendships are so much more important than all the rest. Um, and
Yes.
it's part of our
That's
strength.
important for people to realize.
Mhm.
That's important for people to realize, because before this all began, seemed to be a lot of tension, and there was a lot of publicity about the disagreement and the tension. But I think that always underlying what is happening, like you say, in some ways, this is normal Israeli relationships. And you're going to have this kind of discussion and disagreement and activity, but there's always a sense, at least that I've found in Israel, where more important is the relationship that people have together, realizing that no matter what happens, you have each other's back, because the real issues are those that are coming against you, not the disagreements within yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And October 7th uh, did put it again into the spot. And with all the disagreement, we always knew there was one of the key issues in the last year until October 7th was, and people on the reserve said, well, if some of those laws that were proposed will pass, we will not come. And there was questioning about it. And people always ask, what happened if there would be a war? And then on October 7th, we were people were so ahead of I would say, the government and the army coming in. Way
Mm-hmm.
before people just left their homes and took whatever they have from their reserve. I used to have my bag ready for reserve service, and just went to the units and join in. So this is literally some underlining basic infrastructure in the Israeli society that is so strong, and prove again to be strong. It's unfortunately not the first time, but they prove to be very strong.
Mm-hmm. Since you're more focused on Judea Samaria areas, what is the general I would say temperature? Is there a lot of build up of uh, intense violence with the Arab communities there, or is it staying relatively calm?
It's so it's not like a bubbling. Maybe it is a bubbling volcano, but we don't see the bubbles. We see, like Yellowstone, you see a geyser there, an eruption there, an eruption there. The army is very proactive in that regard, based on intelligence, good intelligence. They will usually go, and at that moment when they go to a specific area, the tension immediately, of course, is getting higher. You get more intensity there.
Mm-hmm.
So the overall atmosphere is like, where we are all the time on the feeling that there might be what we call the lone wolf. Something might happen by someone who is
Mm-hmm.
unhappy and will take action without any intelligence, prior intelligence, because without even telling his parents, family. Just so, as a soldier, we understand overall tension is high and things can happen. In terms of
Mm-hmm.
organized eruptions, I think proactively the army is doing so much to try to make sure it doesn't erupt. It might, in the Middle East, especially in general, and especially you can never 100% predict. Uh, but it looks like, and the feeling I have, I think many of my colleagues also, is that people in the West Bank looking what's happening in Gaza and as a whole saying, okay, we don't want to have the same destruction here in our village. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't, again, there is a lot of activity under Hamas is trying to do a lot of work. But the army, when it comes to Hamas, is doing a lot of proactive activities. But the tension is more of a tension. We have to make sure that this lone wolf is not doing
Yes.
something, and it happens all the time. Those um,
Mm-hmm.
many times you get them before, many times you see them, and they see that you are on alert, and they will turn around and so this is the main atmosphere here when it comes to the West Bank. Lots of activity,
Mm-hmm.
lots of Hamas trying to do something reactive, preventing activities by the IDF, and the tension is there, but not as you don't see the volcano yet. But volcanoes have
Uh-huh.
can sometimes erupt in no time. We hope it won't happen.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes,
this,
it's important, I think, for our viewers to understand that, what really the dynamic is there, because that is for that to erupt would be a very difficult situation right now with where Israel's at in Gaza.
and therefore this is why we have units like me that are, you know, adding another layer to the regular army who is there, having other layers to give the people, the Israelis, feeling that they are secured, more secured, and the people on the other side understanding that there are few layers here. It's more, there is more security than before, and October 7th will not happen here because the
Mm-hmm.
forces are already there and deployed, and again, in some cases, as it proved in on October 7th, locals jumping from their homes if they have the full gear and they get proper basic good training. They can do. We can do a lot. Uh, we have a.
Yes.
Uh, so in Israel, you know, I don't think that my daughter have any other feeling when she's, I would say, 40, 50 miles, 40 miles from her home, protecting her home
Mm-hmm.
different than mine. But still, my home is 2 miles behind me and not 40 miles behind. So it's
Yes.
feeling that give and it gives the people, the local people, a bit of more sense of security, and they know the people and they know who to call when something happens, and they it enables, and this is one thing that's also happening now. 3 months, it's enabled people to go back to work. For those who are not displaced in my area, people are not displaced, to go back to school, to go back to start running their businesses. So
Mm-hmm.
there, there are some communities that it will be very long time. those who heard on October 7th, those in the north who are still displaced and still don't have, I would say, full proper, even interim solution for kids' education, businesses, and so forth. But those areas that were not immediately affected, new normalcy is being built. People are not hanging out, don't go
Yes.
to have fun, but they do go to work, they do go to their daily activities, they do provide to their families, and so it's happening, yes, slowly,
Important.
more normalcy.
Yeah.
There are at
Yes.
least quite big number of reserved from the Gaza area, so there is some normalcy there. Universities started last week. So schools, not just the regular schools, but universities, they probably realized that we have to get at the end of the year that number of graduates. Some are more important, some less important, but still important. But you need those doctors that will
Yeah.
graduate from school, and engineers, and social workers, and psychologists, and they have to go and
Right.
run school and do they are doing two things. One is rebuilding the 2 semesters into a bit shorter semesters. Each professor have to give now more in each class, and find a solution. And each university, there is an overall program, and each university is doing its nuances in it, how to support those who just came from Gaza, or those who are still in service, because there are still many students who are
Mm-hmm.
service, and but there is a lot of I tell you a story from the newspaper from 2 days ago. One reporter went to a restaurant with his wife from lunch, and he saw a few soldiers, and he called the owner of the restaurant, and he said, "Can I pay their bill?" And the owner looks at him and say, "You should take a number, because there are already 6 people before you who want to take the bill." So this is the feeling,
That-
including including universities. We have to help those people who are in service.
Mhm. Well, it's important. That's really what you're providing. Like you say, I know I was talking to Mordecai Weiss, Rabbi Weiss,
Mhm,
last week, and he was referring to it the same way, the new normal. But that new normal is being, the atmosphere for it is being created a lot by what you're doing and others working with you that are keeping the neighborhood safe and keeping the central part of the country safe for people to be able to go back to work and to go to a restaurant and have a meal and do other things. So that is extremely important what's happening, because uh, in a lot of ways, both with the economy and just with the uh, you know heart and soul of people being able to live life again.
mhm.
This new normal is a big part of rebuilding, even while the war effort is still going on.
And it's part of the Israeli resilience, and we are very much in resilience and resolute to win this war as long as it takes, and to enable our government to find solution to the problem up in the north, and we have to, this new normalcy is giving the decision maker the basis to make decisions in a more calm way, I would say. Like,
Yes,
usually
yes,
wars in Israel are very quick, and now understanding it's going to be slow. It's kind of take your time, make the right decision. Don't if needed to, if it will save life, and again, of hostage, of soldiers. we have we know how to hold for longer. We have new normalcy to enable it to get to the right solution in the minimal human cost. Economic cost is will be
Yes.
harsh, but the human cost is the main thought of everyone.
Right. Yes. Well, one thing I want to do before we go, I know you've talked about your daughter a couple of different times. Can you tell us your daughter's name so that people can pray effectively for her as well as for you and your father and the rest of your family?
So her name is Noga, Noga. Um, its translation in Hebrew to the star Venus. So
Uh,
Noga. And yeah, she's doing. I'm very proud father of what she's doing and what
yes.
she's contributing. And again, I'm telling my story because it gives a window through a family to so many other Israeli
Yes.
families, and there are so many other Israeli families very similar to us with the same or differently same story.
Yes. Well, and that's why I've wanted so badly to have time with you. Your father brings an amazing perspective of many things, but the family reality and the impact on you personally being called back up, your daughter being there, others like you say, your comrades. This when people are hearing this, we want you to realize that he's speaking for hundreds of families and the conditions that many people are living through and living in. And so this is a snapshot not just of the Medzini family but of many in Israel. And so our prayers are needed and our support is needed in many ways to the things that we are supporting. I encourage you again to go to hargraveministries.org and to go to the uh, page of Giving for Israel. Right now, we normally give to 8 different entities in Israel. We're still doing that every month uh, to each of those 8 entities, but we're also raising special funds for others, including United Hatzalah and other organizations that are really on the front line of this. So I want you to get this heart that Mickey's conveying and feel the experience of life for many Israelis. And let's continue not just our prayers, but our support financially and every other way that we can give it to Mickey, to his daughter, to Professor Medzini, and to all of those in Israel, because it really is a large family there, and there's no one living in Israel that isn't somehow a part of winning this war and bringing peace to the Israelis and to Israel. So please find a way to be a part of it. And thank you, Mickey, again for being with me. And I'll give you a chance to say whatever else is on your heart before we conclude this.
So thank you, and thank all your viewers for their support. And I'm wishing all of us a much better 2024 than 2023 was. So best wishes for this new year, and thank you for all your support.
Okay. Thank you again and be safe.
Thank you very much.